We're going to make some picks now. I know this. You think this is a little bit too early. There's still quite a lot of time before the Ryder Cup, but it's never too early for this. And it's been, we've had some signature events. The West Coast swing is over, so we're not going to do this every single week, but we're going to take maybe after the Players or something, and we'll do this again. And I'm going to bring on a European counterpart here, Luke Kerr-Dineen, who I love, does awesome content in the instructional space over at Golf Digest. Luke, talk to me, my friend.
Dan, how are you?
Thanks good. For having me. I'm good. So we're going to make our picks now. The way we're going to do this is I'm going to make one pick, and then you're going to make one pick, and we're going to fill out our rosters of 12, and we're going to talk about briefly why we're picking these guys, and then we'll run through some of the guys who are the first names out. So my first pick, this is not going to shock you. If it does, then I don't know what you've been doing, is Scotty Scheffler. I feel like I don't even really need to add that one. So who is your first pick?
Yeah, same over here on this side of the pond. Rory McIlroy, obviously my first pick. I mean, honestly, I was thinking about this. I feel like outside of winning the Masters, Rory sneaky cares about the Ryder Cup more than anything else these days. The switch really flipped at Hazeltine, I think, and he's just the perfect person to be leading the line.
Yeah, and he's set the stakes. I mean, he's said that one of the things, like you said, other than winning the Masters, winning a road Ryder Cup is something that he really wants to do again. So my number 2 pick, I kind of debated moving this guy down the list, but he won 2 majors last year, so I'm going with Xander Schauffele. Hasn't really started his season yet. Had that one start at Bay Hill, or sorry, not at Bay Hill. Had that one start at Century. Hopefully he'll be back for Bay Hill. I'm going with Xander as my second pick.
Yeah, got to go Xander. On my side, I'm going with Jon Rahm. Obviously, his quality speaks for itself. The biggest thing is that it's quite hard to get a gauge for his game right now because his majors were weird last year because of the injuries, as Brett just mentioned. And, Liv is a bit of a data black hole. There's no shot link, but the quality speaks for itself, right? Jon Rahm's going to be the second man in my opinion.
Yeah, and just the emotional, the leader, him with those fans could be box office. My third pick is Collin Morikawa. He had a second place finish to start the year, 2 T17s in the other signature events. He's fiery. I like that clip with the aim point. He's got a little bit of an edge. I feel like he's definitely a lock.
Yeah, he's a lock. Another fiery guy, Tyrrell Hatton. I mean, the only reason you wouldn't pick Tyrrell Hatton, who's in really good form since going to Live, and he's got a natural partnership with Rahm, is just because you hold some kind of grudge. And if the Europeans are out there using their team at Bethpage Black to hold grudges, there's just 0% chance of winning, right? Tyrrell Hatton's playing well. He's kind of a fiery character. I kind of feel like he'd relish being in that crowd, so he's straight in.
Yeah, I think Rory said he will be brilliant at Bethpage. My fourth pick, Bryson DeChambeau. Wasn't on the team in 2023. This is a big ballpark. It's going to be playing long. It's going to be playing juicy. Bryson will bring the fans out there. The reigning United States Open champion. He was contended at the Masters. He finished second at the PGA Championship. Like you said, I'm not really putting too much stock into what's going on Live, but Bryson will be there.
Yeah. Next up, I've got a few guys I could pick here, but I'm going to put a bit of a show of faith in Victor Hovland because I feel like there's always a guy like this, a top talent, a really top player whose form just isn't quite there. And in some ways, I feel like a high pick in this case, but also just like a show of faith in someone like Victor Hovland can help focus the mind a little bit, right? It can just get the juices flowing, and then it can kind of kickstart them into not like a second wind of their career, but just can get them back on the right track. I feel like Victor Hovland, he was so good in Rome. I think he's going to be fantastic in Bethpage, and obviously, all things equal, one of the top 3 players in the European team.
I mean, this guy is a good segue. This is kind of that guy who was in that mold last year. It's Justin Thomas. Is my 5th pick, but he's playing much, much better. He's got 3 top 10s in 4 starts to start the year. Look, if he's going to be on the team when he's playing ass like he was in 2023, I think he's going to be on the team this year. He's number 6 in Data Golf's world rankings right now, so playing some really, really good stuff.
Yeah. Next up, I got Tommy Fleetwood, who just seems like he's made for the Ryder Cup at this point. He almost feels like the Ian Poulter of our generation. The thing I love about Tommy Fleetwood, too, is that it feels like he's not just kind of elite skill set, but he could do like any number of things pairings wise, right? He's a good ball striker. He's like an affable character. He's clutch when it comes to the Ryder Cup. And so, again, you can just play around with him in a bunch of different ways. You could pair him with a Rory, you could pair him with a rookie, and you feel like he would get the point no matter what. He's just such a stalwart in this team now. You have to have to pick him.
Yeah, I feel like anyone, when they get paired with Tommy, they just smile. They're like, oh, I get to play with Tommy today. Patrick Cantlay is going to be my next pick. He was excellent in the President's Cup. Played well at the U.S. Open last year, and after Hatgate last year, he seemed to kind of relish that villain role. So Cantlay's on my team.
Yep, Ludwig Oberg. I think I'm pronouncing his name right. Oberg. He might be the best player, honestly.
Yeah,
by the time
I'm surprised that he dropped this low.
I know. Well, he got the win yesterday, so maybe I would power rank him up a little bit. But you know what? Like, respect to the stalwarts. This is just his second Ryder Cup, but it's just the perfect course fit for Bethpage. I think he's going to win at Oakmont, right? Like, he's perfect. Again, he's another perfect fit. There's a lot of courses that are perfect fits when you drive the ball, like Ludwig does. And again, he's a sneaky good putter. Like, there's just what is not to like about this guy? You could do it. He's going to play 5 matches or at least 4, as he should.
Yeah, he is. I feel like you can pencil him, and you could pen him in for the next probably 5 to 10 of these. My next pick is Russell Henley. This guy's a dog, capital D dog, Georgia Bulldog. The other guys talk about him with such deep respect. He was good at the President's Cup. I expect him to make this team just a really, really consistent ball striker, really good for foursomes, for alternate shot, just hits the ball very, very straight, kind of an even character. It's going to be so rowdy and so hectic. You got to have some guys who are pretty level-headed. So I would pick Russell Henley.
Yeah, a good driver of the ball too, which brings me to my number 1 favorite golf swing in golf. Okay,
that's big coming from you because you're a golf swing guy.
Big golf swing guy, Sepp Straka, number 1 in my rankings right now, and middle of the order here. He's turning into a little bit of a rock in the middle of the order. But, one thing that's interesting, a little anecdote for you, Dan, is that Sepp, he doesn't hit it the furthest. He's a big guy, but doesn't hit the furthest. But he's been working on an extra speed kind of drive right now, where he really goes at it. He calls it his donkey swing. And he's doing this specifically with an eye towards Bethpage when he does need to lean on something a little extra, squeeze out a few yards. So I'm excited about this. I think, I'm a big Sepp Straka fan on multiple fronts. I think he's really turning into this good, middle order guy for Europe.
Yeah, and also, I'm just looking at your list. Rory's won this year, Tyrrell's won this year, Ludwig's won this year, Sepp's won this year. I got 0 wins on my team, but again, there's a lot of time before Bethpage. We're going with Tony Finau. Again, big ballpark. He's got an electric game. He's now working a little bit with Chris Como, which is new. He's worked with Boyd Summerhays for basically his entire career. Chris Como's done amazing work, kind of helped Bryson through the bulk up. He's worked with Xander Schauffele and got him hitting the ball farther, which helped him win those 2 majors last year. So Tony's my pick.
Nice. Bobby Max, next up, Pride of Scotland. There's not too much to say on this front, other than I think he's a better player now than he was in Rome. And he's got one under his belt because of Rome, too. Kind of just a fantastic experience, even though he wasn't playing that well, if we think back during that week itself. It was kind of a storyline. But, decent form, really accurate player. Just again, he's the kind of guy who'd roll out 2, maybe 3 times, and you'd feel pretty good about sort of eating some innings, for lack of a better word.
I like why you have been in America a long time. I've got underneath your thing, it says he claims he's British. He keeps saying stuff like eating innings. We might have to bring on a different correspondent for this. I'm just kidding.
I know. You talk about cricket stuff.
Yeah, exactly. My next pick, this one's a little outside the box. I'm going with Akshay. Akshay Bhatia would be a Ryder Cup rookie. Look at the shoulder mobility there. Maybe that's when he hurt his shoulder. That is I did not know that what picture we were going to use. His shoulder is so far back there. I don't know. Yeah, that just struck me. But he's playing really, really well this year. And I want some moxie. I want some young energy. So I would pick Akshay.
Yeah, it's a good one. It feels like he'd drink it in too. Speaking of energy, Shane Lowry is my next pick. It always feels like Shane should be pushing up the qualifying order a little bit more. And it always seems to sneak in a little lower than we'd like. But listen, at this point in the lineup, I'm starting to look, unless your form is spectacular, which it wouldn't be if you're in this part of the lineup, I'm kind of looking for defined skill sets, right? Like guys who you think would pair well with other guys in pairings. Shane Lowry's obviously a fantastic vibes guy, but he's just got this elite short game. And at a place like Bethpage, which is long, and you're going to be everyone's going to be missing greens no matter what because of the rough. When you have a short game ability like Shane Lowry, in addition to all the kind of intangible character skills that he brings, I think you could do a lot of things with Shane.
I think he's a heart and soul guy. You know what I mean? Like you ask the guys on the team, who's the funniest guy? Who's the one who lights up the team room? Shane Lowry's always the answer. You want to talk about a course fit? I'm going with Brooksy. I'm going with Brooks Koepka. I know that his form in the majors last year wasn't anything to write home about. You know, the live stuff. He's playing solid over there, but I can't get 2019 out of my head. He won a major championship at Bethpage the last time I was there. He brought that course to its knees. Shot 64, I think, in the first round. Like hardly missed. I can't not pick him at Bethpage Black.
Yeah, you got to pick Brooks. So the one and only rookie in my team is Aaron Rai. And he's the most accurate driver on tour last season, and he was the second best iron player. So, that's obviously a pretty good combination. That's why he was in the top 10s of strokes gained tee to green, despite not hitting it that far. And again, I just really like his skill set. Like, this is kind of a Fleetwood Straka skill set, right? I just believe in his game, and I think it will suit him pretty well. Like, this is a guy who hits it straight and hits his irons well. You could pair him with a fairly long hitter out at Bethpage, and they would be a pretty like, you could pair him with Victor Hovland, let's say, like a longer hitting ball striking and he would that seems like a pairing that would probably push pretty hard for a point. So again, you do a lot of things with a skill set like that.
He is the nicest person in the world. I feel like he's going to hear things that week that he's never heard before. I'm going to go with Denny McCarthy. I want some putters, some guys who can just scrap it around and frustrate the crap out of you because they make an 18-footer for par before you. And we get some Mongolian reversal. Shout out Saad Theegala. You got 10 feet for birdie. He's got 18 feet for par. He makes you misses, and you look at him. You're like, how the hell did I not win that hole? Denny is the best putter in the world. Has been for a little while. Is playing much better tee to green. Contended yesterday. He's had some close calls and some big events on some big hard golf courses like Torrey Pines, like the Memorial. I want Denny on my team.
Yeah, speaking of good putters, this is going to be the pick that if I was captain in this fictional universe, that would get me a lot of heat.
Yeah, Fitzy, after all the Ryder Cup struggles he's had.
Yeah, but though to be fair, like this is one where you got to dig into the details because he was like paired with Westwood out at Whistling Straits, and that was a really tough pairing, and he kind of got a little unlucky. But again, he's really not playing well right now. But I'd kind of put him in the Hovland mold here, where class is permanent and form is temporary. And again, just a truly elite putter, one of the best putters of his generation. And again, the Ryder Cup can correct the ship when it comes to form in some ways. It's such a unique, weird thing. But when you've got a putting ability like Matt Fitzpatrick, that's the guy you want staring down a must-make putt.
There's a lot of talk about the All-Star game in the NBA and like how bad it is, and maybe do we need to change it up? If there was an NBA All-Star or an PGA Tour All-Star weekend and there was a putting competition, I would like to watch those two. Just hit right to left 6-footers, left to right 6-footers. Maybe I'm just a nerd, but my last pick is Maverick McNeely. You go with the hot hand. I don't know if he's going to end up making the team, but if the Ryder Cup were tomorrow, which was the concept for this segment, I would pick Maverick. He won in November. He won so many times in college, and you wonder if that win in November kind of unlocked something, a little bit of confidence on that I can do this at this level too, and I'm not just a great college player. I still have time to win a bunch of tournaments in my career, so I'm choosing Maverick McNeely to round out my team.
You mentioned hot hands there, and the thing is that
wow, Sergio.
There aren't really many hot hands. So when I look at the board,
no Dietrich.
I see a guy who's in pretty good form. I see a guy who's got a 4th, a 10th, and a 3rd in his last 4 starts at Bethpage. All-time Ryder Cup leading point scorer. Data Golf says he has a 50% chance of making the team. And again, incredibly good ball striker. It's likely not going to happen, but again, there's nobody out there who's tearing it and winning. There is no Lucas Glover figure on the European side right now. We'll get to someone like Thomas Detry, but his form does not look like what Lucas's did. And Sergio has just been the stalwart through the generations and good at Bethpage. Like, why not?
That would make John Rahm very happy, and it would be the Bethpage fans had their way with him early in his career. It would be quite interesting. God, I'm so damn excited for this. I just can't believe it's still so far away. We talk about it, I get even more excited. I'm going to run through some of my first guys out. Sam Burns, he's definitely the highest ranked guy I don't have on this list. He's played with Scotty a bunch in the past. I just didn't love what I saw at the Ryder Cup in Italy. Saad Theegala is a guy who made the President's Cup. Is a huge personality, super friendly, can play with anyone. Just a little concerned with his driving at Bethpage, even though he has improved it. Jake Knapp. I think Jake Knapp, if he plays big ballparks very well and has a sort of an electric game, and I think about all the fans making Knapp signs, and I like what I hear. And then Keegan, but I just don't think that Keegan emotionally could handle it.
Yeah, that's interesting. My next three out. So Rasmus Højgaard is the kind of the last man standing here. The reason why I didn't pick him in this format is because I just need to see a little bit more, especially in the US. He's played well in some DP World Tour events. He'd probably be a shoe-in if the Ryder Cup was over there. But in Bethpage in America, where his best finish, I believe, is T12, and that was at the Phoenix Open last week. I need to see a little bit more before trotting out a rookie in this incredibly hostile environment. Same goes for Thomas Dietrich. I mean, he had a blazing hot putter in Phoenix. He was incredible, so impressive the way he closed out that win. But again, a little bit more consistency is what I need, I think, before. It's a slightly higher bar I have for rookies, but that's what I would say with Dietrich. And then Justin Rose, who was so good in Rome. I still can't believe how many putts Justin Rose made in Rome. It was incredible. But the fact is that since a PGA last year, so almost coming up on almost a year, he's had 2 top 10 finishes. One of those was at Pebble, where he won before. So again, a little more consistency from those 3, and I think they could easily find their way.
Yeah, I feel like Sergio's kind of filling the Justin Rose elder statesman role that you have on your team right now. Well, thank you so much, Luke. I'm very excited. Now I have to wait for many, many months, but we'll do this again soon. I like my team. I'm sure you like your team. May the best team
cheers,
win.
Dan. This was fun. Thanks.
Cool.